Hello everyone, welcome to College Dunia Thoughts on Education initiative, through which we aim to better communicate vision of colleges to prospecting students and parents. Today we have with us Mr. Y. Sivasanket, Managing Director of Raos Institutions, Nellore. Raos Institutions has been established as a modest coaching center in 1983 in the educational hub of Nellore. Today it has grown into a group of institutions with intermediate, undergraduate, postgraduate, and pharmacy colleges under its belt. Welcome, Mr. Sanket.
Hello. Hi.
I just have a few questions from our patrons here. So, what are the key factors that make you connect with the education sector?
As for my personal experience, I did my undergraduation and post-graduation in the US. And while I was studying there, I had the opportunity to be a teaching assistant for about 3 years there. And while I connected with the students there, I certainly had a special connection with all the students there. And I thought, even though I was into the finance sector, just having an opportunity to teach the students there, I thought this would be a good sector to venture into. Because fortunately, my father, 39 years ago, he started Raos Education Institutions in the Nellore hub. And now he's 64 of age. And I've started working for 1 year in the US. And then I've decided to come back here and see what new perspective I can bring to the colleges here. And for the last 3 years, I've been enjoying it. And since that little of it, even though I don't have a lot of experience in teaching per se, but then that teaching assistantship that I did there definitely made me venture into this sector and choose this sector after my dad here.
Being the managing director of Raos Institutions, what is your philosophy of leadership? How do you define your leadership style?
Leadership per se, I would say, is not a textbook sort of thing that we would study in our books, for sure. That's what I've noticed as well. So in the last 3 years I've been here, I think what I've seen my leadership to be is that it's become more of a solution based. In the beginning, it was more of a target oriented. But what I've observed is that you need to change your style as you deal with people here, and you grow to be a leader. Then you basically with your experience and what kind of decisions you're making. You try to grow into that leadership position. It just doesn't come in like a concrete style. So what I would say is, since I work with a lot of faculty members, very experienced, very wise, very knowledgeable faculty members. So I got to make sure that I sit in terms with them when I'm bringing changes, which is a very difficult task. But I try to lead them by making sure, by being empathetic to their decisions as well. And we put everything on the table and just working with them and just seeing them, you lead the team is like one thing that I work on personally. And that has helped me become a leader of sorts in such a way that I don't just lead with authority, but just working with the team and carrying them along with our goals that we have here. So yeah.
Raos Institutions has very high reputation in Nellore and adjacent regions. So in this context, how do you manage to keep the curriculum to match the best practices of the industry?
It's a very good question. So one thing that we are restricted to the BS University curriculum as per the academic standards, because we are under the university. So we do follow that, but just following that academic curriculum is not going to help the students to meet the requirements of the current generation market requirements that are there. So what we do is, as the students do enter in their freshman year, we try to provide them with the programs that specifically designed to their courses. For instance, if we have our BBA students, for example, those students are continuously given multiple projects through their time here that they can work on real-time companies that are working in and around Nellore. So they do the industry visits, they write a report on that, they get an opportunity to present what they learned from those. And with every single course like that, what we are trying to do is to make sure that every single student is getting the opportunity to present whatever theoretically they're learning practically in the form of reports, which is what will help them eventually as they get out of as they graduate from the college. So that is what we are working on. And then along with that, we also have a lot of seminars that we do and a lot of opportunities for students to do research on certain topics that are trending right now. And we allocate certain faculty members to these students so that they can work on that as well. So adding all these kinds of extracurricular programs into the academic curriculum under the BS University will certainly help our students, and distinguish our students from the market as well. And by enrolling themselves into these programs, I think they'll be somewhat ready to face the interviews or to match the standards of the current requirements in the market.
Raos Institutions has grown leaps and bounds since its inception in 1983. How has the vision changed over the years in this period?
So my father, when he started 38 years ago, he was just a teacher with about 5 students. That's how he started Raos Educational Institutions. He teaches chemistry and he's a doctorate in chemistry. And his goal was to make sure that it doesn't matter what kind of economic background student come from, but we have to give the best quality of education to all standards of students. Sometimes it becomes difficult, especially in a city like this, because we have a lot of students who come from rural backgrounds as well. But providing them the best education with making sure that they're not financially burdened is one of the main goals. And giving that highest quality of education for nominal fees and being able to do that service to the students has been the vision of Raos since the beginning. And even now, we follow the same principle as we move forward. Along with that, what we are trying to do is our vision is more on to make sure that every single student who gets into Raos Educational Institutions, irrespective of, since we have very limited time, because we have only about 3 years or 4 years to shape that student. So right now, our vision is to make sure that every single student is transformed by the time they're done with their journey here, and are placed with a job by the time they're done. So that is our immediate vision right now. It's been evolving over time, but yes, right now we're focusing on that.
Right. So now that you're at the helm of the operations, what do you think should be the priority of Raos Institutions for the next 10 years?
For the next 10 years, I think a lot of shift has to be done on research for sure, because what I've observed here is that a lot of even the curriculums that we're following right now from the universities as well doesn't force us to involve students into research. So that's what we are trying to focus on right now. And at the same time, we are trying to get some MOUs with the universities from outside as well, so that we have a chance to send our students outside. We're partnering up with organizations like ISEC so that the students can go abroad as well and get that exposure for a limited period of time. And that definitely adds a fresh perspective to the current students here. So we are trying to just make sure that we follow that structure and bring about that change in the next 10 years. Hopefully, we'll be able to include more programs that will force the students to do that, be on the research side, and we have to see how that goes. So yeah.
What do you see as Raos Institution's key strengths?
Our key strengths, I would say, is the academics for sure. Firstly, that's what we focus on. And then certainly the ultimate goal of every single student is to make sure that they get high-paying jobs while they're done with their graduation. So that is something that we also focus on here. And here we provide them with all sorts of opportunities through student organizations and through clubs and through seminars, presentations, and all these things that they get involved in. So ultimately, when he'll get a job for sure, and that is what our focus is on right now too. So yeah.
What do you like people to know about your group of institutions that they may not know at this point?
I would like to showcase the differences that we've been trying to make for the last few years. Essentially, our focus has been on academics for the last, even now it is a major part of it. But we are branching out to new sectors, like you asked in the previous question about how we are meeting up with current market requirements, right? So that is something that I want to let the students know that what we are focusing on right now is to ensure that the curriculum is designed in such a way that they get all those into the program. And our focus mainly right now is to make sure there's all kinds of students who come into the Raos education institutions. There are students who want to become entrepreneurs. There are students who want to who want to get into sports. So balancing all that and making sure that we cater to this wide variety of students is what our focus is on right now. So just not sticking to academics, but making sure that whatever interest they are in, if it's in sports, if it's in entrepreneurship, we have a separate incubation cell that we have here that we are running under very distinguished faculty members that support these young entrepreneurs that are coming out as well. So right now, just keeping that in mind, that is what we are working on, and that is how we distinguish ourselves from the colleges that are in Bangalore right now. So that's what we're focusing on. I think what we are doing for the past 3-4 years now has been showing tremendous response in the students, and we hope that will continue in the future as well.
You have briefly talked about signing MOUs with international universities.
Mm-hmm.
Could you
Yes.
talk about that in detail?
So right now, what we are trying to do is I'm actually talking to Iowa State University right now, the place that I have studied. It is a vigorous process because it's not an easy task, especially for a college like this in this sort of a district. To reach out to them and getting an MOU from them is not an easy task for us. But right now, what we are focusing on is to make sure that we reach out to as many universities as possible. We have drafted a lot of mails to them and we have sent a lot of emails, and we're waiting for them to hear back from them. And sooner or later, in the next couple of years, we are trying to sign at least 2 or 3 MOUs. And if all goes well, hopefully we will be able to send our students there for about 3 months or 4 months for experience. So yeah.
What do you see as some of the key challenges that higher education system in India now faces in general, and also Raos institutions in specific?
In specific, I would say right now is the training program. Actually, there's a lot of changes in how, like you said, the requirements of the markets are changing tremendously in the last 5 to 10 years, right? So we know that for a fact. But then just making sure that our faculty are equipped with these changes, because they are in this field of education for about 30 years, 40 years now. But how it was back then, it's not the same right now. And getting them on board right now to make sure that they are also equipped with the right knowledge with the right knowledge to make sure that our students right now are receiving that. So just doing a lot of faculty development programs, that's going to be our biggest challenge right now. But it's fortunate enough that our faculty have been very receptive to it, and they're responding really well. And that change initially is very difficult. But getting used to that change is what's important. And that's what we're focusing on right now. And I think a lot of higher education institutions right now are focused on that as well. That could have been one of the major challenges. And at the same time, the job market is it is doing well, but at the same time, for special education institutions like ourselves in districts like this, to bring bigger companies here is a major difficulty. And so we are trying to make sure that they're not disappointed when they come here by training our students to their requirements. But that has been one of the big challenges for us as well, but we're working on that.
Lastly, what advice do you have for incoming students at Raos institutions?
Not a piece of advice, but like 2-3 advices that I would say is that, especially when you make choices right around this time, because they come here when they're 17, 18 to our institutions. And we try to throw as many opportunities as possible for them. But what happens is with an incoming strength of about 1,500 to 2,000 students, it's very difficult for us to motivate each and every single one of them to take leadership opportunities. So we try to, what I would suggest the youth right now is to make sure that every opportunity they get here, just utilize that. Do not waste time. Do not think you can do this later. Just focus on that right now, and trying to become a leader or gaining those leadership qualities from the beginning itself is very important. So when you get the opportunity to do that, just utilize that. And one very important thing that I think personally helped me was to take the financial responsibility at a young age. So we also have opportunities for students to work here on campus. So if they have any desire or if they can take any responsibility financially, I think that'll help them grow as a leader eventually at young age itself. So at 17, 18, along with their academic curriculum, along with all their student organization involvement and everything, if they're able to take up a part-time job and work and start working on their skills right from then on. And as the sooner they realize that, the better leaders they're going to come out to be. So that's my advice to them. Just work on your skills, and just make sure you take financial responsibility as early as possible. And I think they'll come out successful for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Sanket. Thank you for connecting with us and sharing your thoughts and information about Raos institutions. It's been great speaking with you. I'm sure this will be immensely helpful to students who are looking out for programs near Nellore and other adjacent areas. Thank you for connecting with us.
Thank you so much, Likit, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm certain that you guys are doing a wonderful job as well in connecting all the students and giving them the right information about the colleges here. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be on your platform today. Thank you.
Thank you.